I think Kabiru might be coming in too.
Who?
Kabiru.
Okay, when it comes in, we'll find out.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Conteh, Mr. Colley, and Mr. C for being here. I think we're going to be joined by Kabiru Sonko from New York shortly as well. I hope he's not tight on other things, but he intends to join us sometime. We're glad to have we want to thank our audience for being here as well this Sunday. Today, our guest is Mr. Nuru C. He is the CEO of Seysawandeh Family Farm in the Gambia. We are doing our series. This is part 2 of our series on small businesses in the Gambia. We started off with Sarah Yafa Farm, owned by my good friend, Dr. Yafa. Today we are with Mr. Nuru C, and we'll have him talk to us about his business in the Gambia, and the challenges and the promises of agribusiness in the Gambia. Sometime later on, we'll also be bringing in the coming weeks, we'll be bringing in other big businesses as well in the Gambia in this series to look at small businesses, how they are impacting on the economy of the country, and their challenges, the challenges they're going through. We will look at all those. But before we go into the Mr. Nuru's business in the Gambia, Mr. C's business in the Gambia, there are burning issues in the Gambia that I briefly want to talk about. And Mr. C doesn't have to join this conversation. He can chip in if he wishes to, but I would not demand him to give his views on this. He's a businessman. He may not be political. So that would be a choice for him to make. But I want to talk briefly about the president's speech and the following speech, the speech that followed that by the Minister of Health, Dr. Lamin Samate. Briefly, this is a very burning issue in the Gambia right now, so it is worthy of spending a little bit of time talking about that as well. In my headline, I said, making a case for the resignation of Dr. Samate. And I have to make this very clear to our audience. I am not suggesting that Dr. Samate should resign. What I am trying to do here is respond to Dr. Samate's own question that why should he resign? He was confronted by a journalist during the press conference that he should resign, and he doesn't see the need for him to resign. He rather posed the question that why should he resign? And I took it upon myself, since Dr. Samate did not see a reason for him to resign, I want to make a case for him, to give him a reason that why he should consider resignation. And here it goes. Dr. Samate himself admitted to the National Assembly when he newly came to the ministry that the Ministry of Health is riddled with corruption. And since that speech, we all saw that Mr. Samate, even though he came with a lot of zeal and enthusiasm about doing the right thing, what we have observed over these years is that he has mellowed down. He seemed to have, if not given up, but at least he has taken it easy now, right? for lack of a better word, he seems to have slowed down on this crusade to end corruption in the Ministry of Health. And we will see that since the COVID-19 scandals, where a lot of corruption has been alleged in the squandering and mismanagement of COVID-19 funds, we also saw the nurses and environmental workers, going on strike and making allegations about how their dues, compensations meant for them were stifled and embezzled by the ministry staff. We also saw the audit report, which uncovered massive mismanagement at the Ministry of Health. And recently, we have seen the death of 69. People are saying 66. It is more than that. Dr. Seysawandeh himself confirmed that in the past 2 weeks, 3 more deaths have been confirmed, bringing it up to 69. It's probably way more than that because I, don't believe all the deaths have been recorded in this scandal. So this is a scandal. A lot of our kids were died because of substandard medicines that are imported from India. And even the ministry, Dr. Seysawandeh himself admitted that this has never happened in the Gambia before. So all this add up to suggest that it's time for Dr. Seysawandeh probably to consider resignation. Things are happening that have never happened in the ministry, in the Gambia's history, as far as healthcare is concerned. I don't know what more he is waiting for to happen before he decides to quit. Our healthcare system, despite some improvements Dr. Seysawandeh outlined, but most Gambians feel that our healthcare system is going into the drains. And this recent scandal is partly or arguably a confirmation of that, because we are now seeing something that has never happened in the history of the Gambia. So I want to make a case that if Dr. Seysawandeh is looking for a reason to resign, these are reasons he can consider for resigning. I'm not telling him to resign, or I'm not even suggesting that he should resign. But since he's looking for reasons why he should resign, I think these points I raised are enough reasons for him to consider resignation. I will let you guys, and Dr. Seysawandeh said Gambia has no means of testing the efficacy and the safety of all the drugs coming into the Gambia. That scared me to death, because I have family living in the Gambia. If we don't know what drugs we are consuming, what is the efficacy, what is the safety of these drugs, that's really, really very scary. And, I'm sick and tired of listening to these people saying Gambia is a poor country. Gambia is not a poor country. No country is created to be poor, right? We have a legacy, a colonial legacy we are still battling. But there are a lot of things we are doing in the country that is stifling our development. Gambia could have gone so far now if we were doing things the right way and properly. But we are not. So we need to stop making these claims that the Gambia is a poor country, it's a low-income country. That is our own creation, right? We created that and we accepted it as a way of life. It shouldn't be like that. There are enough resources in the Gambia to turn that country into a heaven for Gambians. But mismanagement and corruption have become the order of the day. Nobody cares about government. Everybody works for their own interests. Government can set up these systems. People flout them and have their own parallel system on the sides that put money into their pocket, into the government coffers. You go to any institution in Gambia, you want something today through the legitimate, proper way. It will take you weeks and months. You'll be twisted and turned. It's not going to happen. But if you go to the back door and pay some money, within hours, you will get what you want. We all know about this, right? And sometimes, we are all guilty. Sometimes we all play it because it comes to the point that that's the only way you can get it, and you don't have the means, you don't have the time to wait forever, right? But that is the reality of the game. And recently, Jammeh's videos in the past are playing a lot on social media because people are recalling Jammeh. Jammeh was talking about all these things in the past. He has bought oxygen machines. He was talking about 12 oxygen machines he bought from Taiwan. When he asked the Ministry of Health, they said they need 4. He went ahead and bought 12 for them. Within years, they all disappeared. And when they said the machine is broken, he asked for the broken machine. They cannot find it. They probably sold it. And he even talked about one machine that was sitting, brand new machine, it was sitting in storage for years. The Ministry of Health would not put it into use because they were trying to sell it. And the guy who was trying to buy it, when he found out that Jammeh is the one who brought the machine, he backed out because he told them that he doesn't want to go to jail when it is discovered that he's the one who. These things have been played on social media now. It kind of reminds you of Jammeh's days. Jammeh, with all his problems, he was making an honest effort to resolve some of these problems. And the most disappointing thing is that Mr. Barrow, President Barrow, totally seemed to be clueless about what's going on. I watched Mr. Barrow's speech about this scandal, this AKI, acute kidney injury case that killed 69 kids in the Gambia. Mr. Barrow, reading the speech, seemed completely confused, completely hypnotized, completely out of control. I think President Barrow is totally at the mercy of his ministers. He's totally at the mercy of his speechwriters. He doesn't seem to have a grip on reality. President Barrow made a speech which, instead of laying the country people's fears, he outraged the people even more because of the claims he made. These claims were likely from his speechwriters and from the Ministry of Health. But the reality is that Mr. Barrow should be in position to determine what his speech should contain and what is not fit to be in his speech. But it looks like President Barrow doesn't seem to have the capacity to determine what goes into his speech. He seems to be totally at the mercy of being fed by his ministers and by his speechwriters. They claims that outraged the public, and the Minister of Health had to come back and apologize to the country for the statements that the president said. The president should have, we expect him to detect some of these things in his speech, even before he read them, to understand that while these things are not appropriate for me to say, I'm going to expunge them from my speech. He should be the one who determines the final content of his speech, not his speechwriters, not the Minister of Health or any other minister. We expected a lot of President Barrow. The country doesn't seem to be going in the right direction. Like Dr. Conteh liked to say, we support him. We want him to succeed. But, we want to see him in charge of the country. He must not leave himself at the mercy of the ministers and at the mercy of his speechwriters. I'm going to let Dr. Conteh, Mr. Colley, and if Mr. C, our guest today, wishes to chip in and say a few words on this. Kabiro, I'm not sure if Kabiro has joined us. If he is, we'll give him a minute also. It's going to be very brief. I want us to give Mr. C adequate time to talk to us about his business and to let Gambians be aware of his business, what he's doing, where he is, how they can reach him, and what services he has to offer to the Gambian people today. Dr. Conteh, Mr. Colley, and Mr. Sonko.
Well, I will allow Mr. Colley to go ahead.
We got a guest today, so I think it will be prudent to kind of give the guest a chance.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nuru, if you like to say something about the current AKI, go ahead. If not, we'll skip that. Your purpose here is to talk about your business. I'm not going to really require you to, unless you want to.
I'm just going to say the loss of every life is regrettable. And then, you know, it takes everyone to build a nation. It's a difficult process.
Right.
We wish that their souls rest in peace, and that hopefully the professionals who are better trained, more educated about these issues would make the relevant contributions for the betterment of the Gambia. I will add, as a businessman, you know, we have limitations, and I respect all of the opinions, but I'll beg to purely focus on why I am here, and maybe which I have a little bit of expertise to contribute better, and then hopefully try to satisfy the expectation of your audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. C. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Mr. Colley, you can go ahead.
As for the AKIs, you know, this has to be brought to an international court of law. All the families, they need to get up, regardless of how much the Barrow government is trying to bribe them to silence them. Like in the case of Faraba, he went in there, they gave them money. Panyang, so they think that they can always keep bribing their way through truth, authority, and power. So this is the best time for these families. I like to speak in the vernacular because Gambia, Bankobe ER la sakonin ka diam baro ndol ka angale mem fo nin la frambe diam la pro literally efficacy aram baro la masokana min bije sa understand man sia wonyam bag nin la fakka taw kambo so taw kan wala ndi jata ngala jele Gambia ay be den kana jan den ka kilan ka wala don nyinden ka kilon tol mu fal bayla la so mbaka mo nya ko na jibe nyinden ka kilon so sa dunna nga dum buka ka mo impress woten ko la life ko to mbatu nga diam ning kangol la ngil se mi moy na jarta fana maybe lunkili nata jang sidan ko ha hu ala understand mana nan ko ha hu because as kono iko ibole fana understand barola man sakunda but atol family mi nan ko alla dinol min jodo ta nyen kodo na sidal ka fa ala la lawo nyama alman limani ya understand an almamu le nata al kono le findina kale ko ala la lawo alama lawo nya fo ala le firawna bula ala kol ke banka dina nol kanate nin tata nga jeno ke ala ko ngage ala ko bula keta anin ka fa diata alay wala nyama nyim fem fulol man kile almame jama be Gambia te nyi explain wala mo jama way mbadu nga repeat ko diga slowly alay ko bulay ke anin ala laftala wala nyama iman kile nyimul limana la fanalti mel ko Gambia no ka jahase mbulu back anin Senegal because mam muslime understand mo nyam he li kay yef yalla moko daga wodon badun defana ngambati la bunjango nyinya nga gridata ngata nga boy wanto ngela sola panol bi wafati nyi sunya nga fo yalla moko dogal ala la lawa so ngam fo den hakil man ka jamule ala man nyin nga nyawo nyamade ala ni koy be jeno kala kibla jile yake adiati nyame because he has given us a limited free will awole di araman woni jino la madi malaiko buka jeno kana buka evil keno ate corruption of keno la ata sabula acute kidney infection with dindin 66 fa no malaiko buka keno because I'm on free will, even 1%, 0.1% maleko maso. Nkadi am hakili malere with wisdom. I try. But in all Arabano in Gino, free will, a limited free will, either to do good or commit evil. Nimoli Yamar, it's up to us either Yamaron Lamui or we continue to commit our evil and excesses. But Gambia ni Senegambia, abik mo Gambia ni Senegal la fanala. Misilmi ma understand wanyama. Altakiro bari mo diamo collect. Ning sumona ta ila mo sunya wanta ila ay somro la idin sungudo fa ay rip. Ibe sila defo alala la nyino nya. But han way ka dolje ba fa alala la nyino nya. After steps bijel men ko so kenola to rectify because natara woleng prana idena nol kanate nyami. Ala fana be sila ba fa antela nga la nyino no. Ikol for qadr alala destiny I call bulanyami ikata according to the dictates of destiny anala will what will lawhul mahfuz konon wonin ka fo anala ta kel wonyay mankin. So that's my first point. The second point is nyem family mi ko they are affected almume wuli ECOWAS mo boys club de Macky Sall boys club de anen mo furon mi ko malafika to wala boyol Africa be toralente nyami itole asaw nyin din kurun sifa. Again, in Gambia, I have to give this caveat all the time. More can I tone down the language because fali hakilobe armanomia nika diamai nim fali language. Okay, nde nenna nte bulalela. So anitol be nyami kasol siara hani ko fendi ko ha ko fila ka molne. So be it. The next is go tare la kabrol kono. It could have been my own son, my own daughter, somebody else's daughter, and so on. You understand it? So nyol be nyami teng ale fintale alle letro safi ECOWAS, United Nations. Dawda ale nyul su al loya kendolta ale barola masakunda su ale indela pharmaceutical company ale yisu. I'm gonna say this again slowly. Al baro masakunda su prominent in that class, it could be a class A lawsuit or something. Prominent of the names, the principal accused, Adama Barrow himself, another entire government of the Gambia. And then India la wo pharmaceutical company me drug ni manufacture. Sako, it also ya admit le ko what drug ni it is not being consumed in India. Ika consume in dole yalong muna nan ninka diam teka wild. So Dr. Zakir maybe what do mbafla la aling excuse ngakal diam nyen show because ndol faru wala besirinte. Inna no man sakunda aling ninka ngami damana wala safal. Ila language I speak their language amanka ko me very fluently. In the society, ni inanol ka jar la jama. Okay? It's a third world country. I don't want to go into that politics. In the corruption of Grata back is a different level. Alajele watu mena in the president of Gambia. Nga lamit nuntara for Gambia nga safeje. This is 2019. Altana website alba I try to give Gambians a background. Ndiamta Gambia no le form bada imani wulu den kulia because business protocol according to our constitution. Business protocols require that any Indian businessman in the Gambia, nine officer yele Gambia or has a janitorial company, 80 to 20 ratio, according to our constitution and the law, 80 to 20 ratio le bige, which means at a India dual employee nola more than Gambia dual. It has to be 80% Gambians at all employer company, and in the rest 20% as okay in the note. I have that document here. Ndiamba Gammenole from Badar. So maybe one uncle maybe asking maybe this will be my last appearance over here because Malafinga Diam Tenkana voice race. Ikadiam Gammenole Bafla in Gold Dabarlen Mobukatamano. In an communicate Kada India Ilamasakunda Kurule because there's a second colonization of Africa going on, a second scramble and partitioning of Africa. Ndola intellectual nibi Diamka Muli Bafla Niko the Bukol Karaneta Ibaran what's going on. Dunia manke jalba ko de commando de kana Wisconsin or Missouri or New York. Dunia tambita wala. Dunia you have to find out what's going on. You know what would happen? 66 kids are going to die from EKI. Asa hakira de so jolo binyo so mbanga ngal conclude ngal bla atol taw nyanga singal Mr. Jad.
Yeah, briefly, I want to give Mr. C enough time to
yeah.
Go ahead.
So say kana iko ina non samanang ika gamenol nominal position, just one Gambian janitor, abanda. The rest are big again in the north. So these are hustlers. Arambaro Masakuna Kapoiko investors. Kabri gas storage in janitor kind of thing. After Parafino Marcel Semana, become a Lotano in Mana, Bako Marcel Bako market, Banjul market, Circle Ibeka Malale, Arambaro Gasimo to the scene. In another business or janitor lumen, Alia Kantan Safin, 2019, October, September. Arambaro botna state as lanata kana indano nyina business o jibe kanife kabra business woman I will remember inano nyina tako he was speaking on camera ako Arambaro mala personal friend e nyolo ne kabrin 1992 nyin ko son nyimam bande al Arambaro alala masakunda su adol min nol fada alta UN international lawyers you need Gambia's jurisprudence albita international lawyer le tala now ale nyulu su for the lives of these innocent children. Okay, there's a lot that I could say, but manga na guess like aita unyamata. So I could Mr. Jada.
Thank you very much, Mr. Collins. Thank you for that explanation. Dr. Conteh, briefly.
Well, I had a student, or no, a Gambian who was going to school in India, and he revealed to me that he saw a pallet of goods, and they say it's not fit for human consumption. But right next to it, it called shipping to Africa. And the person was asking if a pallet of goods wasn't fit for human consumption, why was it next to another pallet that says ship to Africa? And I don't understand, but the ratio that even the every 10 employees, they should have 8 Gambians employed there and 2 Indians, and we are not enforcing that. And this is alarming. But I also even for Fanang, more for Indian company and Sulale, because I think somebody said that it's only one Indian company that exports to Indian pharmaceutical company that exports to Gambia. And I also had a friend. I have a friend who he went to a pharmacy. Akonyako 75% of the pharmacies have expired medication. So if they can go and run after other Africans because they don't have papers, whether they are Guineans, Senegalese, whatever is Africans who are in the Gambia, to demand that they have whatever paper to stay in the Gambia. How come such a thing? And in fact, Mr. Dr. Samate, someone was telling me, Omo Kendoleti, Hani Bringabado, Briaja Mebije, Ika Kela Loptanol to. He a Muslim at the Baba Kele. I told the person, come marry a ko. Minan ne watu kuol keta Gambia, atol kafo kali dinat. Nkako, kodola yi yelamandi. Because the corruption, the first corruption that they level against the ministry on the COVID-19, that's what I've been the time that Barrow should have fired him. And can I tell you, his sister has license to import medication to Gambia. And also the Denton Bridge, the sand mining, his brother is the owner. So now when we talk about ethics, and then Banjul eventually is going to be consumed by water, and nobody is even saying that. The latest flood we had in the Gambia is particularly Banjul. I'm contributing it to the sand mining. So I don't know, Barola government, it seems like people do whatever they want to do and nothing comes out of it. So with respect of time, and for our guests, I want to stop right here now and turn it back to Mr. Jatta.
Thank you, Dr. Conteh. Thank you. Very well said. Yes, one particular thing that concerns me a lot is that the Gambia, probably because of economic constraints, is turning increasingly to other third world countries, mostly India and Turkey, for assistance in terms of healthcare, in terms of investment, in other areas, food and other things. And food and medicine particularly is very, very concerning. Many of these companies, from India particularly, and probably in Turkey also, are poorly regulated. They're not like our traditional partners, like European countries and USA. We have robust regulatory mechanisms in the Western world, if I may use that term, to describe our traditional partners in Europe and North America. But our increasing reliance on India and Turkey are very, very, very concerning. And I hope the government looks at these things, but it starts with, economic management. We have to manage our economy well so we can create prosperity and we can be able to afford decent services that our people desire. I'm going to end this with that, and then we will go to our guest. I want to formally invite him on the platform. Mr. Nuru C is the CEO of Seysawandeh Family Farm in the Gambia. Mr. C, welcome on board.
Thank you, Mr. Jata.
You're welcome. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to our guests? Briefly, you don't need to go into very big details, and tell us briefly about your business in the Gambia.
Well, like you said, my name is Nuru C. I am a sheep breeder, and I have been breeding sheep for a very long time, but as a business since 2016. And as you might know, sheep is one of the animals highly in demand in the Gambia, but very, very, very minimally bred in the Gambia. We are satisfying less than 5% of our market need. Out of the about 380,000 sheep we need annually, we are producing less than 80,000 per annum. We import almost all of the sheep requirement of this country. We have the water, we have the land, we have the know-how, and it's not rocket science. So in brief, that is me. This is what I'm doing, and I'll be hoping that to answer some of the more specific questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. C. This is the second part. We are talking to agribusiness practitioners in the Gambia. And because we recognize the importance of agribusiness in terms of creating employment, in terms of creating income, in terms of contributing to the GDP. And actually, statistics have indicated that agribusiness alone in Africa is expected to contribute to 70% of employment and 25% to the GDP. And it's $1 trillion industry in Africa, expected to reach $1 trillion by 2030. So agribusiness is a very important sector that we want to see develop and employ more people in the country. But we also recognize that despite the potentials in this area, there are a lot of constraints. Can you speak us to that a little bit? What are some of the constraints you guys, people in your industry, or particularly yourself, are facing currently in the operation of your businesses, or either operations or reaching out to markets?
Yeah.
What are some of the constraints?
I'll start with specific to the farm, and then perhaps at our farm, perhaps some of the limitations we have is in terms of the land requirement we need. We cannot have, given where we are located. In urban Gambia, as you might know, pretty much everywhere is claimed. And to do this to free range, you need a vast land to grow grass. And the idea of growing grass for your animals, it's really utopic. When people see you grow your own grass, they think you're out of your mind. But as you know, sheep, goats are ruminants. At best, they eat grass. So land is one problem. The second problem we have as an industry is also investment. Pretty much nobody invests in sheep breeding. Nobody give you money to do sheep breeding. Everybody thinks that you are crazy for even asking them money to invest into sheep breeding. So that is also another challenge. A third challenge is also you for breeding mostly your bigger sales only come once or twice a year. Around Tobaski, almost every adult sheep you have would be gone. But other than that, you know, you are left to people with ceremonies. Hardly you have a Gambian who will come and say, okay, I want a sheep today for the family, or I want a goat for the family. That's also another challenge. One of the other challenges we also have is marketing, and marketing in the sense that it's not only selling the product, but expanding the conversation to involve empowering local industries. Because when you empower, as you might know, you really naturally expanding the industry, because more people will venture in the business, more people will be employed, the money will stay within the country, it strengthens the economy, and the list goes on and on and on.
And the government can take advantage of that and even export,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And in terms of market also, we lack, perhaps, for lack of a better word, that middle either policy or regulation or whatever that will let market and industry, that will at least link market and industry. Let's say if hoteliers, if restaurants, if businesses were committed to buying their sheep from local breeders, that is a natural market and it will also attract more people to breed. We will not even wait for Tobaski or Korita to sell our sheep. We will know people will come, the industry needs it and stuff like that. They will rather contact a Senegalese or a Guinean or somewhere else who will come and bring them 10, 20 sheep at a time, and then they pay them, they go back to their country. So these are some of the challenges we face as a farm, but more globally as an industry also. We are very small, and to date, you'll be surprised to learn that when you talk about agriculture in this country, no one thinks of even sheep or breeding animals. That's just a side. When we talk about horticulture, we talk about all of those things, but hardly you hear initiatives around sheep breeding or around livestock in this country. We had one recently, and like every other project in this country, that one also have a lot of limitations, and challenges. But in brief, these are some of the challenges we face as an industry.
Thank you very much, Mr. T. How about you talked about the requirement to grow grass for your animals, for your livestock. How do you feed your livestock? Do you rely more on imported feed, or do you mix?
No timeline is there.
Do you you talked about the constraints about land for growing grass for your livestock? How do you feed your animals? Do you use
and then if you have any questions, you can ask.
How do we what?
Are you with me? Who is speaking in the background?
I'm not hearing you well. Yeah, there is some noise in the background.
Who's that? Who is speaking?
That's not from me.
Can you mute?
Somebody else.
Try to mute Dr. Conteh. It's coming from Doctor.
Doctor?
Can you mute Dr.
Yeah.
Okay, Nuru, I was asking, you talked about
maybe the
land constraint in growing grass for your livestock. Do you then rely on imported feed, or do you mix your own feed? How do you feed your livestock?
So when you click on what?
Yeah, primarily we buy from farmers. Because we do not have the grass we need, we buy from farmers. We buy a lot of hay. We go to the provinces.
Gotcha.
And get as much hay as possible and
Okay.
store it for the season.
Okay. Well, wonderful. That's great. How about let me talk a little bit briefly on financing. You talk about the constraints.
But as you might know,
yeah,
at best, sheep don't need hay.
right,
Hay is the worst form of feed you could give to your animals.
right,
They could survive entirely on grass.
right. Gotcha.
You know, at best, we grow grass and
Hello.
Looks like we may have lost Nuru briefly.
Okay, I was sorry about that. I was also trying to get someone to come in, and so he's in the Gambia. So I'm trying to get him to.
Yeah, we just lost Nuru briefly. I think he was talking about the constraints about livestock feed in the country.
Yeah, in fact, I just pulled something out for him here.
Yeah, he had to
Even though
rely
that's
on.
going to be expensive, you know. But
Yeah,
he's saying something, Mialongo, is very, very critical, and these are people that we need, you know. 380.
Nuru, are you back?
Yeah, he's back.
yes, I am
Okay,
back. The network
sorry about
is a
that.
little bit.
Yeah, I got what you were trying to say about hay rely on hay that you buy from up countries to feed your livestock. So that is quite
Yeah.
challenging. I know small ruminants they probably don't. Hay is not probably the best feed you can get for them. You probably prefer grass, green grass for them. But apart from feed, you said finance is also a big constraint. Access to funding is a big challenge. Most people don't want to invest in agriculture because of the risks associated with agriculture. But that is mostly crop production because that is
Yeah.
very dependent on the weather, the climate, right? Whether the rains
Mhm.
come or not. What would you like to say briefly, whether to government or to authorities or like they call it stakeholders in the Gambia, anybody who is interested in investing in livestock, what do you provide in funding and support the livestock industry? What do you have to tell them?
I did talk about, but I realized the network wasn't
Yeah, I figured that.
helping.
Yeah.
I mentioned government recently had a small ruminant initiative, they call it, a project, $28 million project that was supposed to be helping people breeding small ruminant.
Okay.
So unfortunately, 3 out of the 24 million was earmarked for microfinancing small ruminant. People who are in the small ruminant industry, from the traders to the butchers to the breeders to anybody who was doing anything that had to do with microfinance. Now, the arrangements were in 18 months' time, you have to pay the processing time of the financing usually takes about 1 month. That's minus 1 month. Now, if you buy ewes, roughly, you need to prepare them before they mate. You flush them,
Right.
you know, and that process takes about another month.
Right.
Then you let them mate. 5 months later, they deliver. When they deliver, they take at least 6 months before you can sell again. You could realize within one cycle, one cycle,
Right.
you have almost exhausted about a year of the financing that is given to you.
Right.
If you are expected to pay back in 18 months and expected to pay everything back, that was just not possible.
Right. Right.
That was really setting people up to fail.
Right.
You know, it does not make sense. And the second point is, for any authority who might have an opportunity to listen to this, we are telling you, we walk into your offices, we have spoken to you, we have met, we told you, the breed we have currently, the Jalunke, had some values. You know, it is resistant to some diseases, it is endemic, you know, it can handle a lot of the stresses that comes with the region, but they are not profitable. It takes 2 years to breed a Jalunke to full size for market. When I crossbreed a Ladum and an Azawad or a Tulabir or a Bali Bali or a Chadian, with only 6 months, I can have the same carcass that the 2-year-old citizen gives me. Look, I respect what you read in books. I respect all of the, education you had regarding livestock. We did not go to school to study it, but we are practicing it.
Right.
There are some lessons, there are some theories that
let
unless
me
you
add
put
this
into
briefly
practice,
before
you
you
won't
continue.
learn. And we are telling you our experiences.
Right.
A lot of you have come and bought sheep and we are breeding. A year later, you said, "Suma hari yep dena." It is not normal for a sheep to die. At our farms, sheep don't die like that. When a sheep die, we perform a post-mortem. We open the stomach. We know why they die. Initially, when we started, we used to lose 5, 10 sheep per year. Now, hardly we lose 1 sheep. There are I'm not sure I got that.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I think we're missing him again.
Mr. C.
I missed what you said.
Are you there?
No, his internet. He's raised some valid points, and
He does. Yeah.
and
I hope my good friend Abdul Karim Sane is listening. He used to write extensively about the Jalunke sheep in the Gambia. So
he's back.
Okay. Mr. C, I was just saying that I hope my good friend Abdul Karim Sane is listening in UK. He used to write a lot. He was kind of a specialist on the Jalunke. He used to contribute a lot on the newspapers, writing extensively about the Jalunke sheep in the Gambia. So I hope he's listening. What you have just said will be some food for thought for him.
The beauty of crossbreeding is, look, we can take the best the Jalunke has to offer.
Right.
Which is, it is drought resistant, you know, it is very resistant to a lot of the diseases that happen around.
Right.
And crossbreed that with the best that a Ladum offers, which is, they are giants. They are tall, they are long, they are big. They can give you up to 100K of meat. Even if you slaughter and sell to market, you make money. They can give you up to 150 kilograms of meat. Now, when you crossbreed these over generations, what you do is you are creating a unique breed that is big, that is tall, that is heavy, but also has the genes of the citizens.
Right.
But believe you me, these are theories that no one wants to listen. We have brought them to our farms and said, hey, look, I started with this sheep, I crossbred it with this. This is the results.
Right.
The offsprings are bigger, taller, larger. True, the industry is still young, but believe you me, there are hundreds of young people like myself who are now doing extensive breeding. And every day we are learning from each other, we are sharing knowledge, and we are having some experiences along the way. And all we are saying is, these experiences should not be ignored. These lessons learned should not be ignored, because it is only through learning and by practicing over and over and over that we can build on theories that those that will come after us can learn from. Believe you me, we have the capacity, we have the know-how, we have the capacity, given the opportunity and resources, to improve significantly the sheep breed, the sheep need of the, or let's say the meat content or the meat requirement of this country. Some of our peers are into milk production, they are into dairy production. Others are into sheep fattening, others are into breeding. And we are all learning from each other every day. Believe it or not, in this country, we have bought and sold a single sheep for over $1 million. We have bought and sold sheep for more than $500,000. Because we know as farmers, we know what the gene does when you bring it to your farm. We have seen first-hand evidence. And whether you know it or not, people are coming from Guinea, people are asking from Ghana, people are asking, even Senegal are now coming and buying our sheep. And those prices that I just said are relatively cheaper here compared to Senegal. Senegalese are now coming and buying our sheep and taking them back. Now, for any authority who is really, really forward-thinking, I think would say these beautiful things that these guys are doing has the potential to transform not only this industry, but our agro-business and our agro-diplomacy. Imagine our agri-minister Imagine our agri-minister going to visit Ghana and take 3 male ladum, 3 female ladum and said, this is a gift from the people of Gambia. And it's on TV everywhere. Ghanaians come and see a sheep size never seen in their history. Before you know it, they will be putting orders and importing sheep from the Gambia. This is how big the potential is. And you could do the same with Nigeria. You could do the same with anywhere else, And like I said, it's rocket science. This is something that anyone can do. With as small a farm as we are, we have 3 employees. And you'll be shocked to learn how these people are paid. Just from the little manure we sell, the manure, the poop, we are able to pay their salaries every month.
That's wonderful.
So this business can be viable if done right.
Right. So thank you very much, Mr. C. So Gambian authorities, anybody who's listening in the Gambian government in financing agribusiness, you need to consider these people. Make sure the terms of the loans you're giving them are conducive to allow them to grow their businesses, and give them adequate time to be able to pay without stress, without setting them up for failure. A lot of potential is in this industry that is capable of transforming the Gambia's economy and create prosperity in terms of jobs, employment, and growing our GDP. So a lot of investment is needed in this area. Government needs to give them support. Mr. C, I have some other friends who are involved in agribusiness in the Gambia. One is Mr. Yafa, who owns Sara Yafa Farm. He is into cattle production, but I think they have an association, according to him, called Livestock Association, Bear Mali and the Kafu or something like that. I'll probably give you if you don't know him already, I'll give you his contact. You guys can talk with him and see what you can share together. I know And that is the next area I'm going to talk to you about. You talked about the market. I think you guys should at some point think about transitioning from selling live animals and going into meat packing and slaughtering livestock and packaging the meat and supply local stores. That can be a very good way of increasing your sales and your revenue very quickly and give you the capacity to employ more people. Last time when we talked to Mr. Yafa, he was considering starting a meat packaging plant, starting it small, but then growing it and make it larger so they can get into this area I'm just talking about. Do you think the lack of adequate meat packaging plants in the Gambia, I don't know if they have any at all, but is that something that is also hampering your business? And do you think creating that will boost your business and your revenue?
Anything is better than nothing, but I can tell you, with the high demand of lamb meat or sheep meat in this country, you know, perhaps you might not even need to get to the plant to get your money back. You know, if you have the right breed, if you have a class A of ladum, one breed, just one sheep can bring you in every 6.5 months at least 100,000 or 150,000. One ewe can give you that. If you have the right class, right, one ewe every 6.5 months can give you between $100,000 and $150,000. And there is ready-made market for it. If you have the right quality, there is market for you. Now, some of the other challenges that you know that can relate to that question is, you know, this country need to categorize, you know, farms. We need to understand that, you know, in some part of this country, they can do free range. If you go around CRR, URR, the river is fresh, you know, and there is enough grass for anybody to buy your sheep and just let them go. Just have someone to look after them, and that's it. If you live in urban areas where you do backyard, you can just have a backyard pen. You can do intensive breeding. You know, intensive breeding, it might be a little bit more expensive than the one doing there, but for you, have a breed that has the potential to give you maximum profit. For that area, they can work on numbers, they can work on the quantity, whereas this area works on the quality. And the advantage is those that are working on quality side will be supplying the those that will be mating with those ewe there. That way, they are increasing the rate in which you convert food to muscle. You can transform those sheep so that their offsprings can grow bigger, faster, and give you the amount of meat you need. Now, when we have enough, the problem is we don't even have enough right now. It's only when you have enough, then you start thinking of, oh, so what do I do with my excess? Can I package it? Can I store it? Can I, you know? But we don't even have enough right now.
Gotcha.
Hardly you come to the farm and want a sheep that is 7 months and get it. Before they are 6 months, they are gone. They are gone. There are people that are even booking. You know, Senegalese can call you and say, can I see that one? Can you make those two mate for me? I will buy the offspring, whether it's a male or a female.
Gotcha.
You know, you negotiate price before even they meet. So they do that. But of course, eventually, the end will be getting a meat processing plant, processing meat, selling it locally, but also exporting it to other markets. And we have an advantage because everything, we don't give our sheep any bio or any chemical or nothing. there is naturally. They ate grass, they ate hay. You know, we give them corn, we give them wheat bran, we give them dove. Those are the things we give. And out there now, that has a price. You know, when people learn you don't give GM food to your animals, that's a value. If you go to a country like Madagascar, they have a cow, a type of cow called zebu. It's beef. It's beef. But guess what? If you buy regular beef, it could cost you, a portion could cost you $5. You buy zebu, that's $20. Now, since we are breeding a unique breed called ladum, very, very big, giant, you know, very nice, well liked by farmers and everyone else, we can also market it to the point that you will have tourists who will come all the way just because they want to eat ladum. You know, we can package it that way so that everybody else would know, okay, that Gambian sheep called ladum, I want to try. I learned its stuff. I learned it's good. I learned it's nice, you know, and that's the point. When packaging becomes more relevant and more useful, and be able to, you know, sell it to anywhere else around the world and make more money.
Right. Is ladum native to Gambia?
Say again?
Is ladum a native Gambian breed?
Initially, it was started by few farmers in Senegal who had similar passion and wanted to, you know, just develop what they call a perfect sheep.
Okay.
However, you know, we brought it from Senegal and added our Gambian twist to it.
Okay.
We are crossbreeding with Jalunke, we are crossbreeding with our Bali Balis, we are crossbreeding with the sheep we have here. And now we are creating, as far as I believe, stronger ladums that are living even longer than those that we got from Senegal. In Senegal, they are male at 5 years, they fall down. Ours are living 7 years or longer.
Okay, got you. How much do you sell your ladum ewes? Like how do you say it? My animal husbandry is pretty rusty now.
And ewe, a lamb.
If somebody wants to start raising these animals, how much do you sell your baby?
So we give this instruction for anyone that wants to start. We said, A, get the right coach. B, take your time and visit farms. C,
right, but if somebody want to know what the price, how much do you sell one to them?
There are animals in my farm, sheep, some ladums in my farms where people have offered me 350,000 plus 2 sheep, and I refuse to sell.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And
I refuse to sell. I witnessed my friends, my colleague farmers buying one ladum for over $1 million. Yes, Mr. Saho. I witnessed another friend of mine, Bubakar Bari, bought another ladum for $500,000. I sold many times very young ones for $100,000. At 3 months, $100,000. 3 months, $100,000.
So if you are to sell a pair of ladums to somebody who is trying to start producing this sheep, your price will be $100,000 for each.
If you are buying 2, you will say $100,000 for ladum. However, if you want other breeds, the prices are way, 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 way cheaper than ladum.
Like how much?
If it is a mixed breed, let's say you mix ladum and Azawat or ladum and Tulabi, 25,000 give you one. If it is exclusive Bali, 15,000 can give you one.
One, okay. I'm trying to get a price estimate for some of our guests who might be interested in contacting. But at the end of the show, I will let you give your contact to anybody who is interested in reaching out to you. or probably the location of your farm if anybody wants to contact you, how best to reach out to you and request or ask for your service. I know you're doing an important contribution to the Gambia, and we want to uplift this. We want to increase awareness of these businesses. So whoever is interested in reaching out for purposes of purchasing or purposes of investment, financing, government, private sector, they can all know how and where to reach out to you. Before I leave you, I'm going to let Dr. Conteh and Mr. Colley, if they have any question to ask you. I know Dr. Conteh is an accountant, if you don't know. He is very much interested in profits and costs and all that. So I'm going to let them ask you a couple of questions before we end this show. Dr. Conteh, Mr. Colley.
Conteh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So, Mr. C, you were mentioning about government's intervention. What exactly did you want the government to help in? What area? What exactly? Are you wanting some subsidy or some pharmaceuticals, like some drugs? Because, I did work at livestock in Abuko, although briefly, in 2001. And I remember getting drugs for these livestock was a challenge. People will bring their rams, and they'll bring their pigs, like swine. Even the staff, they used to have their own medicine. Government would supply, but then the livestock personnel at Abuko and in the provinces, they used to have their own medicine too. I don't know if they were stealing them from the government. Yeah, but that's Africa for you. What exactly?
Gambia for you.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want the government to do? And what response? I heard you mention about was it over 20 million US dollar grant or something? What exactly do you expect the government to do?
Number one, to start with, if you feel we are doing well, just give us land. Even if you put conditions to say, if it is not utilized, if you haven't reached 1,000 heads by 5 years' time, we're going to reclaim the land. That's fine by us. But give us an opportunity to grow, number one. Number two, you might also be aware that this country does not have more than 5 vets. Gambia, Koina to Banjul, does not have 5 vets. I mean, veterinarians who are trained as professional vets, we do not have more than 5. Give scholarship to young people who can go out there and study and be vets and come and help us. That's the second one. The third one is create an agriculture bank where people would even have the opportunity to bring in collateral and look for investment and go invest in their farms and grow. We can create jobs. We can transform this economy. We believe we have something to contribute.
Mr. C, that sounds like a tall order. And that's a really, really tall order. We normally see us as Africans and Gambians focusing more on the symptoms of the problem instead of the problem itself. But I don't want you to get in any trouble as a business person, because your clientele, some of them could be common secretaries, because they are selling, wants them to get a white ram with some black stripes on it. So I don't want you to jeopardize your clientele potential. So I don't want to drag you into those things. But usually It's just heartbreaking that we focus more on the symptoms than we should be on the problems itself. Now, we just mentioned hepatitis kids and the AKI infection. So the reason why I was telling you that sounds like a tall order, and definitely that's how it's supposed to be. Wallahi, if I were in power, which I will never crave, this is how that's just a basic thing. That's just natural requirement. Yes, send the kids to Malaysia, send them to Singapore, send them to Thailand, send them to Bangkok, let them study agro-based food production, agro-engineering. Do that. They have the money. But again, like I said, I respect your views. I don't want to drag you into political economics sphere. Wallahi, it's not my will. But we do have a government that has like they just spent 38 million or more. That's different from per diem on just a chartered flight. And they don't please don't talk about this. Do not. This is just from me as a brother, okay? So that's the reason I'm telling you in Africa or Gambia in particular, we focus more on the symptoms instead of the problem itself. The grassroots is what I'm trying to address, bring to your notice, as well as my own notice. 38
Thank you, Colin. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I think the last time we had Dr. Yafa here, Professor Yafa, he was talking about the same thing, lack of veterinary experts to help them with disease and treatment for livestock. I don't know. I know the Ministry of Agriculture used to have a crop protection service. I don't know if they have a livestock protection service or they have a veterinarian unit. I think they did have that at some point. I think there was one Dr. Ture who used to work at the veterinary unit, I think, when I was going to college back in Ghana. But I don't know now. But I think that is one challenging area for livestock producers in the country. Dr. Conteh, go ahead with your question for Mr. C.
First, I would like to know where they are located.
Right.
Where are you located, Mr. C?
My farm is at Gunjur Sambuya.
Okay. And what is the size of your farm?
It's 50 meters by 25.
And so you are looking at expansion, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you've gone around, you've seen diasporans who have gardens, fenced, but no activity there, correct?
Yeah, a lot of them.
I want to see whether you can meet with the government spokesperson, Mr. Sankare, who is also responsible for diaspora affairs, to see whether we can open an avenue for diasporans to invest in your business.
I will actually, Dr. Conteh, I think I will get the government spokesperson here sometime next week. So we will. I hope we are able to get through that, confirm that appointment with him. But I have a tentative agreement with him to have him here. So hopefully that goes through, and we will get an opportunity to discuss these issues with him.
Yeah, another one area too, Mr. Jata, Mr. C, Mr. Colley, is for him to try to have a dialogue with the MD of Trust Bank, Ms. Sengor, because you indicated, that you can, the sheep that you are breeding, almost $100,000 that's capital for you right there. I don't see how, and that's even collateral for you. If the bank can get you loan, because if you look at it during Ramadan, Tatrabaski, how much money we pay to outsiders who are taking foreign currency out of our currency, thereby decreasing the value of the dollar. Particularly those who is going to come back, particularly those who are from Senegal and Mauritania, we have to look after our own, especially to see someone with education but has decided to go into livestock business. I also would like for us to kind of look at those things because 380,000 sheep, that's what we need in our country. And Mr. C can only he can only have only 5% of that. That's only 19,000. So if we are able to, if this guy is able to expand his business, you think about what's going to happen to his success and how, it can even help reduce, the depreciation of the Gambian currency, particularly during the Tabaski period. So again, all of us have this British education mentality that if you sit in the classroom, you're supposed to have suit and tie, and farming is a no-go area. And to see someone here who can speak fluent English, and willing to do something like that is something that all of us have to commend. And also, if you look at, for some of us, all of us here who are here, we remit money to Gambia every month. And what is the return on that? So this actually increases perpetual poverty in our country. And I really and truly, I'm very proud of him, and I admire him for what he's doing. And I hope more Gambians can do this, because out of 380,000, he's only able to do 19,000.
There's a huge potential there for growth.
So what happened to the 361,000?
Right.
But you see, every single month we send money home, and if we can get into this, but I hope he can come in, because I have a cousin who is a veterinarian doctor, and he lives in Combo East, and maybe he can engage him. But anytime you talk to him, please get that. So we need to keep on going. This farming thing and agriculture, I think is good for all of us. We all were raised on the farm, and regardless of what education that you have, we always have to remember. Because this guy was telling me, a Gambian who was going to school in Uganda, he told me that he said meat is very cheap in Uganda because they have a lot of cows. So I mean, I'm very happy. But what I would like to know is, Gambia, when we grow during the rainy season, after rainy season, people are cutting grass. What do? They set the whole place on fire, thereby depriving animals from what? From eating grass.
Right. And Doctor, just in relation to what you said, you asked him where his farm is located, and if there are empty lands around where there are people fenced, but no structures in there. Probably Mr. C might explore the possibility of entering into an agreement with some of those people to give him his land to grow feed for his animals. I think some people might be willing to do that, support him at no cost to him. And, while he maintained the place and keep an eye on it, and so that's something one can explore also. So just to mention that in passing,
This is wonderful. I see Mr. Colley also is smiling. He might even go into that business too, right?
Right.
I've been on it already. I jump started some Gambians, the youth. I bought some sheep for them, goats. But if I try to talk about it, you're going to see the same anger in my face again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's been like years ago. But they will call you the next week and ask for more money. And when you ask them, what did you do with the money that I gave you cash so that you buy sheep? So I think what we need, politics aside, what we need, we even abusing GRTS. We can bring Mr. C. He's well spoken. I've never met him. Close to the guy. GRTS can bring Mr. C. And so many likes of him
Yep.
to motivate the youth. You see this back way problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Gambia, you try to talk to the kids. Do not go back way. Some of them would be on the verge of punching you in your face because it is here. It's not just here. It is here. So they think that that's the only way to make it. But imagine Jacques has a show like you guys are doing, all of us are doing, and Mr. C was just here. I wish he comes back if the internet would permit it. Can you imagine, Mr. Jada?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Jacques would have a weekly program?
Right.
They will bring our old grandma from Kaur, Farafenye, Brikama, Nyomi, and they will talk to them. Okay, I told Jamano Janin Allah Merol coming for the oldest. Bring them. They will tell you before Jawara was president. Because all of us sitting here, our parents, our immediate parents, they witnessed the colonial era.
Right.
They did, right?
Yeah.
Well,
GRTS probably wouldn't do that, but we might end up. I'll probably reach out to them so they can air our program.
Oh no, I can tell you
Don't rebel all day. You cannot rely on me because I may go the other way.
Non tolmo rebel African you could be to nya for I'll tell you a short African you could be to nya for lie.
I'm gonna reach out to them so they will start airing our program. But I wanna go ahead and let Mr. C, if he's still with us.
No, he's not with us. Unfortunately, you may have to reach out to him.
Oh, he's gone?
He's gone. But maybe we can even reach to West Coast Radio, Peter Gomez. The only problem
I'm trying to do that. I'm gonna try to reach out to one of the outlets to start airing our program. So we can directly talk to Gambians as well. Let me see if I can get hold of Mr. C. I want him to give his final word and
please do.
Probably give his contact to Gambians to contact him.
You go in. I'm going to be talking momentarily, Mr. Colley. This is Nimbita Baba because Niajibi Karo Karnanki Lu Iejo Watu Kodoki Gambia. Because sometimes I just think about this brings perpetual poverty. Because it's total dependency, our people are not willing. Because the community people cardboard killer soma. Cardboard killer is sending, and so forth, But if we have more people like this young man, Nuru, can you imagine what is going to happen to our country?
Wallahi.
Huh? More better and they want to use Islam.
Exactly.
So, it is your responsibility to take care. But let me explain something to you. Okay, so I had wanted to. I was just sitting down thinking, God, this is summertime. The kids are not doing anything. So I'm man on Yenenka, Kolokundanko Fallen, the guy ko. Yamari is a kebab. I didn't. He said, "Eat a phone." He said, "No, you can show them how to make more blocks." I go, "Oh no, Manjara didn't only know. No, excuse me. You're younger brother. At the Napita school, do you give money to him? Ako yes. Nkako ala samotonye. Because I'm bakoha. Allow the kids to do this, and guess what? In a month, the kids did 2,991 blocks. So look at $7. You multiply that by $7 per block. All that money went to the kids. But when they first got their payment, the next day they doubled their work. So incentives are there for us to motivate the kids, but we don't want to do that. And then they want to quantify what the trips of sand per bag of cement, thereby decreasing the quality of your blocks. So maybe for Mr. Jad, I'm very impressed by this young man. Right. And if we have more of Yalan Gambians are followers.
Right.
Let's just be realistic. Gambians are followers. If we concentrate, empower this young man, maybe we can have another person of him as the other person, Dr. Sidar Yaf. I think, because if you look at Tobaski, All the people out there in KMC, they are not Gambians.
Right.
So if you look at the currency, they want you to pay them in safer. So that for us, decreases the value of our dollars. But if we have this young man here, and we have so many others and some of us, but again, the problem in Gambia is trust, because if you go into any venture with somebody saying Yaku, that's always the problem.
With your money, yeah.
Yeah. So in Adiamda.
I couldn't get in, so I think we're gonna go end it, and then.
Okay.
I think we want to thank Mr. C for coming in today and tell us about his business in the Gambia. It's a major contribution to the economy of the country, and we believe this is the way forward. Small businesses are very crucial to expanding our economy and contributing to the GDP, creating jobs, employment, particularly for the young people. So we want to recommend this, or we want to uplift small business owners in Gambia. And if you want to reach out to, we missed the opportunity because he has gone offline, to give us his contact numbers so that anyone out there interested in reaching out to him for business purposes or for financing or any other way of collaborating with him, you can be able to reach out to him. But he said his farm is located at Gunjur, but he's available online. His farm is Seysawandeh Family Farm. If you go to Facebook and type that in, you should be able to find him, and you should be able to reach out to him and connect with him and get him to request his services or anything you want to do with him. If you are a business owner, any kind of business in the Gambia, and you wanted to highlight your business, you want to come on in here and then we talk about it. We talk about the challenges you're going through, the prospect of your business. Feel free to reach out to us. Reach out to me or Dr. Conteh or Mr. Colley, whoever is available to you. We'll create a platform for you to come on in and have a discussion with us about what you're doing and reach out to the public. So we want to invite everybody who is doing small business in the Gambia that you are welcome here. If you need to discuss, we are ready to listen and give you a platform. With that, I believe that's it. Dr. Conteh, Mr. Colley, if you want to say a final word, we can end this here for today. Dr. Conteh?
No, I'm okay.
All good. All right. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Mr. Colley, Dr. Conteh, and anybody out there listening, our remarkable audience, we thank you very much. We will be back here again next Sunday. And thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.